What is up, everybody? Happy Thanksgiving. Today, we're going to do something a little differently, and I want to do it with some speed. I want to walk through some charts, XRP, Chainlink, ADA, and I want to look at them within some very important context, specifically what happened last time quantitative tightening ended right before PMI expansion kicked in. A quick refresher, if you haven't seen any of my recent videos in recent weeks, QT is the Fed draining liquidity from the system, shrinking their balance sheet. When that ends, the pressure comes off. The liquidity pressure comes off. PMI is manufacturing activity. When it crosses back above 50, that's expansion. And historically, that's when risk assets like crypto, they start moving. And we are approaching both of those things happening right now. So today, I just want to go right into the charts. And I really specifically, besides looking at USD pairs, I want to look at BTC pairs. Here is Link BTC. So we're going to cruise through Link to ADA to XRP. And what you're going to see, I think, is some powerful data in terms of historical evidence lining up with the potential setup for a bull move. So let's just jump into it. This is Link BTC. I just want to start something by just saying, if you go to Bitcoin dominance chart, and again, we can see Bitcoin dominance at this multi-week resistance. Here's a 20-week moving average, just fell below the 50-week moving average. Let's see how this holds up. We have the 50-week moving average around 61%, but right now, QT about to end literally a few days away. QT ended back here in Bitcoin dominance, and that was really the top of Bitcoin dominance that last cycle. So I'm going to be releasing a video tomorrow really explaining the liquidity and Fed confirming a liquidity pivot that is good for risk on assets, everybody. But let's look at this. Link BTC. So one thing, you have the green line. Just keep this in mind as we go through all these charts. I have the PMI chart, the green line on most of these charts. Just look at how these charts line up with the PMI and the business cycle. But what I want to do is I want to look at Link BTC quantitative tightening ending specifically last cycle. And this was only the first time quantitative tightening ever ended. And by the way, if you want to see what this looks like, the Fed balance sheet and quantitative tightening, this is what we just went through. And this is what it looked like last cycle, okay? Top of the bull market at the beginning of QT last cycle, or 2 cycles ago, I should say at this point. Top of the bull market last cycle at the beginning of QT. It's coming to an end. So Link BTC, this is where things become pretty powerful, everybody. Link BTC, look at this, is basically, when QT was ending last cycle, it is like at the very exact same area on the Link BTC chart. Now, here's why I'm saying these charts are powerful. Not only that, right? So after all the tightening and everything that's going on, everything Link has been through versus Bitcoin, if you go look at the Link USD chart, look at this. When quantitative tightening ended last cycle, Link was like right around here. It's like $1 to $2, somewhere in there, closer to $2. Right now, as QT ends, Link is $13. And then I want to take this a step further. In our intelligence system, when we're trying to monitor risk and the risk of all these assets, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell on the macro if you're a macro investor? Look at risk right now on Chainlink. It's a 25. If we go and we look at September 2019, that is when quantitative tightening came to an end last cycle, just check this out. 60s, 50s in September of 2019, that month, quantitative tightening came to an end. What's my point here? My point is that was a good buy. Link was around $1, mid $1 to $2 at that moment. And it went on to approach like $50. Okay. And risk was like 50s, 60s. Risk right now is 25. It's even lower at this stage of the cycle. And I want to take this a step further. And XRP has a very interesting case. So here's ADA. So here's ADA BTC. What's that doing? Same exact thing. If we look at September 2019, quantitative tightening ending, ADA BTC is literally at the reset area. And we could hobble around. Notice what it did last in that moment. It was months of sideways and choppy. I mean, we could go down, we can go sideways on the ADA BTC. I'm not saying ADA BTC is about to just explode, but look at last time quantitative tightening ended. We obviously went through COVID on this chart right there, and you can actually see just that big dip in PMI. But look at this. ADA BTC. Last time QT ended, what was happening? And by the way, I'm not saying this is going to repeat exact, but last time quantitative tightening ended, and this was back here in September, we are at the same exact area. Now, let's continue this story. You go to ADA USD. Check this out. Just look at the PMI chart. We get expansion on that PMI with all of the history of this chart in terms of ADA, right? Going back to 2018 here, going into a bear, contraction on PMI. What is ADA doing? Contracting, bear market. What's it do during expansion? Bull market. Where are we? PMI, all of the hints are saying going into 2026, we're going to see some expansion because of liquidity flows. I digress from that for a second. Let's go look at QT ending September 2019. What happened? USD pair, it went down a little bit, but it was consolidating. But notice the price, like 4 to 5 cents. Right now, Cardano is 43 cents as quantitative tightening ends. This was an entire bear market. So take that a step further. What's the risk score for Cardano right now? It's a 20. What was it back here in September 2019? Around a 20, right? Look at that, right in the 20s. And again, the difference, 4 to 5 cents back then. Right now, we're sitting at 40 some cents at a risk score of 20. We are in the end of a bear market territory. I don't know when we might see expansion, and I don't want to speak like it's guaranteed to happen, but I'm just saying as I compile this data, I just want to be prepared for this. And with a low risk of 20 right now on the risk models, I want to be prepared for this move. I want to be in this system getting alerts when we're hitting 60, 70, 80, even 90 on a Cardano risk model. I'm knowing when to sell because right now we're on the flip side. We're in a pre-bull territory of a low risk of 20. But I'm trying to show you the contrast between this cycle and the 2019 end of quantitative tightening. A massive reset in terms of liquidity and monetary policy. Let's go look at XRP. XRP gets crazy and is very bullish, I would say, for XRP from certain angles. And certain angles, it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, and we're going to get to it, but risk for XRP is a little higher, but I'm going to explain that. Here's XRP USD. This is why I'm saying it's cool, it's powerful, it's cool for XRP. XRP last cycle was completely stifled out by the SEC and everything going on with that case. It didn't have its bull market. This cycle, it's going to have its bull market. So if you look at last cycle, you can see quantitative tightening coming to an end in September 2000. That's September 2020. I charted that wrong. I have to move this back like a year. But it's like September 2019, somewhere back here, quantitative tightening coming to an end. Notice the price, 29 cents or so. Notice the price now, QT coming to an end, $2.20 as I do this video. Look at the PMI chart overlapping with XRP. XRP had a significant power move, unlike a lot of crypto and a lot of altcoins right here. And we've been consolidating at this area for around a year at this level. Now quantitative tightening coming to an end. So let's take this to the next step. XRP BTC. Here we are, September 2019. What's it doing? It's almost exactly at the same area. Look at this. XRP BTC. Quantitative tightening ends, same area, same reset right now. Notice what XRP didn't do. Link chart did it. ADA did it. XRP didn't. It didn't outperform Bitcoin last cycle, right? You go look at the BTC chart for ADA. It did outperform. The ADA chart outperformed. Link chart. It outperformed QT after it ended. XRP did not. Why? Again, SEC, the war on XRP, the case was going on against XRP, and XRP just really had trouble. But now, this time, XRP BTC is looking very good because QT is ending this time, and XRP not only has the SEC not on their backs anymore, XRP, Ripple, they've just got they just have a lot of very good narratives going on right now. They are in a power position. Last cycle when QT ended, at this ratio on XRP BTC pair, they were not in a power position. And I probably should do a deeper analysis on XRP alone. And what's the XRP risk model saying? It's at a 39. So it's higher. It's still a bull market score, a pre-bull market score in my opinion. But you have to really put into context everything that's been happening. The risk profile changed back here, November, when we pumped, and we've just been consolidating at this higher level. But to put it into context in terms of, well, what does that mean for XRP? Is it not as much upside? Look at this. Or I should say 2017, which is a very good area to compare for XRP because that was kind of an area where XRP was free to do its bull market, right? Last cycle wasn't. Well, here's XRP sitting at like a 49, right? And just hovering here in the 40s. And all of a sudden, it still had a continuation of its bull move. But just notice, 20 cents. And it went on to what? $3. Right? So that's a risk score back then in the 40s, maybe even we can call it the 50s. Well, now we're at 39 and we're not at 20 cents. We're at $2.20. The upside back then at a risk score slightly higher than what it is now, there was a lot of upside in play. And right now, I think it's very much the same. And so the upside is there for XRP. Maybe not as much since we've just really been consolidating sideways. It's not like price has dipped significantly like some others, right? Like I think of ADA, for instance, from this swing high last November. It's come down quite a bit. XRP hasn't. But you can see the PMI chart, the business cycle, getting ready for expansion, quantitative tightening, getting ready to come to an end. And I'm really trying to pivot this around what happened at that moment in September 2019 for all these charts. Link BTC, ADA BTC, even XRP BTC. They are all positioned very nicely. This is why I'm bullish on altcoins. This is a risk-based thesis. This isn't just man, I just want my altcoins to explode. I do, but this is data-backed. This is risk-based. And this, I should say, is macro-based. We're looking at real macro shifts in terms of liquidity and what the Fed is doing. And I think that is so important to work into all this technical analysis. So wanted to share that with you today. Those are just some of my thoughts. I appreciate you. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider giving it a like. If you want to check out our intelligence system with these risk models, I'll put the link below. We have a free trial going on right now. Either way, happy Thanksgiving. God bless all of you. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.